AOC is very dumb. She's a very dumb human being. But there's a chance she might be a president one day in the United States of America. Or at the very least, a president of Puerto Rico. And here's a clip of Jeff Bezos explaining to AOC. I was about to call her Candace Owens, but I guess there's not much of a difference. About how economics work. Let's take a look.
Let me ask you about the anger, because there seems to be anger, at least from certain political sides of this. And AOC recently said in a podcast, I'm just curious how you think about this, says there's a certain level of wealth and accumulation that is unearned, she says. You can't earn $1 billion. Just can't earn that, she says. You can get market power, you can break rules, you can abuse labor laws, you can pay people less than what they're worth, but you can't earn that.
Yeah.
By the way, you've earned an extraordinary amount of money. You employ largest employer, if not one of them, in the whole country. When you read that, what do you think?
Well, it's not correct on its face. Let me give you a simple example. Let's say you start a burger joint and you have 10 employees, and you make a little bit of money.
Right.
So you have this one outlet. And by the way, these are the most delicious burgers in the world. People love your burgers, Andrew. And so then you open a second outlet.
Right.
And now you're making a little bit more money, and you have 20 employees, and you open a third outlet. By the time you've opened 1,000 outlets, you are a billionaire.
Right.
And by the way, this is a real life story. It happens all the time. It's In-N-Out Burger. It's Raising Cane's chicken. At what point did that money all of a sudden become unethical? Or it didn't. There was one outlet, and then there were two, and then there were three. What you're doing, the way you make $1 billion or $100 million or $10 million or anything, is you create a service that people love. And if millions of people choose your service, you're going to end up with $1 billion.
Right.
And you can, just try it with a chicken franchise.
Do you think, though?
But your chicken has to be good.
But there.
Now, listen, I'm the last person who's going to sit there and be like, every single thing that a billionaire does is ethical. I'm not the person who's going to be like shilling for billionaires. But the attack that comes from the radical left in America against rich people is fucking insane. I know somebody who just 1 year ago was literally homeless, sleeping on the couches and bouncing around from people's floors, who pulled myself up by my bootstraps, managed to get lucky, and started providing content that people wanted to see. Got a lot of luck there, a lot of God involved, in my opinion. Started doing very well for myself. If I started doing very well for myself, doesn't make me a bad person. 1 year ago, I didn't have money for anything. And those of you guys who have been following me for a long time know this. A year ago, I considered giving up on all this because I literally couldn't afford it anymore. And then I struck gold with my content. We started doing the right kind of content. I met the right kind of team. We made a partnership that started making very good money and started changing the game on YouTube in the Israel advocacy space, in the Jewish advocacy space. And it ended up being very profitable. I didn't know. I risked a lot, and I spent tens of thousands of dollars on a failing dream. What I thought was a failing dream. Does that make me a bad person now that I'm making good money? No. I worked my ass off for every penny, and I continue to do so today. I work my ass off for every single penny. If anybody wants to judge me on how much money I make today, or if I make good money, they better walk 1 mile. They better walk 1 kilometer in my footsteps of what I had to do to get to where I am today. And I have no intention in stopping, by the way. I hope I take this very far, and I hope I make a hell of a lot more money. I want to become a millionaire. I'd love to be a billionaire one day, inshallah, if it's possible. I'd love to. Because there's a lot of things I want to change in the world, and I think that kind of money I can make changes. But who the fuck's going to judge me? I know where I came from. Now, I don't know Jeff Bezos' story. I know that Amazon has hurt small businesses in the same way that McDonald's and Walmart hurt small businesses. There's a balance. It's a balancing act. We in society need to find a balancing act. Scrutiny of billionaires and shaming billionaires or advocating to kill billionaires is not the answer. In the same way that destroying all small business and giving zero incentive for small businesses to prop up in certain departments because big corporations are taking all them out is also not the right answer. It's about finding the middle ground. But AOC And the left, the radical left in America, are definitely not correct about this. In the same way that the people who are like the ultra capitalist, you can only do it one way, we have to destroy every small business, are also not correct about this. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, by the way. You being against the idea of Amazon or Walmart being able to come in and just destroy every single shop that tries to prop up it doesn't make you a bad person. But it also means but it also doesn't mean you need to advocate for their death and for the complete destruction. People get lazy when you sit on the margins. Nuance is the most important thing in the world. But people get lazy, and I see this everywhere. I see it in the Israel-Palestine conflict. I see it about Jews, about Christians, about Muslims. Nuance is the most important thing in the world. When you lose your nuance, when you lose your ability to analyze things with a nuanced perspective, you start becoming a bigot. I really see this trend over and over again. So here's AOC saying there's a certain level of wealth and accumulation that is unearned.
There's a certain level of wealth and accumulation that is unearned, right? You can't earn $1 billion.
That's right.
You just can't earn that.
That's exactly
What does that
correct.
mean?
You can get market power. You can break rules. You can do all sorts of things. You can abuse labor laws.
Yep.
You can pay people less than what they're worth.
Yep.
But you can't earn that, right?
That's
and
right.
so you have to create a myth that since you didn't earn that, you have to create a myth of earning it. There's a certain...
It's such a retarded perspective. It's a perspective for such dumb people. You know how hard I've worked in my life to earn every single penny, and how many times I've been screwed over by people with less money than me? If I told you how many times, as a business owner, which is what I am, in times where my business was struggling and I was trying to make it, how many times I've been stolen from? Oh my God, it would shock you. How many times I've been taken advantage of. And by the way, even today when I'm doing way better than I ever have financially, still being taken advantage of. Still being taken for a ride by plenty of people. Sometimes somebody comes to you with an offer, they want to work with you. You want to expand your business, expand your availability to make more money. Not because you're a bad person, because that's what interests you. You want to grow your portfolio. You want to make more money. Because I'm not a communist. I want to make more money. I want to earn from me and my future family. And somebody will come and take advantage of you. And you take all the risk as a business owner. And I don't go out and complain. I don't say, oh, this guy did this to me and this guy did. You take it on the fucking face and you keep moving. And then you hopefully make double or triple what you lost there. That's the goal. And you don't always. Sometimes you lose even more. But I believe that with faith and with God, eventually it all comes back to you. And again, I've been blessed by people who have helped me out along the way as well. But all of that is warranted through work. You don't get to get the help of people just because. You have to work to get the help of people. If anybody has helped me, you better be damn sure it's because I've proven to them. I've shown to them that I'm a hard worker. And again, this idea that you can't earn $1 billion, I am damn sure that I deserve $1 billion. That's what Tal believes in his heart. I am damn sure that I deserve $1 million, 10 million, $100 million. I deserve it with the amount of work and my work ethic. You guys see how many videos come out on the channel? You know how long I spend sitting in this chair per day? And you know what I do around the clock after that? All the projects I'm working on, I am damn sure in my heart, deep down inside, that I deserve $1 billion. I feel like I deserve way more than $1 billion. That's what I value my work ethic at. Who the fuck is this bitch to tell me that I don't deserve that? What do you mean you don't deserve it? If you're willing to put in the work, you deserve anything you want. If you're willing to work hard. AOC, I thought that fascist takeovers attempts were going to be architected by evil geniuses.
You know, the mistake that I made...
She's so dumb, man.
And I made this early on. From all the movies that we see growing up about heroes and villains, is that I thought that fascist takeover attempts were going to be architected by evil geniuses. And I was not expecting how unearned, nepotistic, mediocre, and just dumb so many of the people architecting this were going to be. And it works because of brute force. Like, you can do anything through brute force, but it's not sophisticated and it does not merit my intellectual respect. That's my thought of the day.
I didn't hear anything. I literally heard nothing. I heard nothing from what she said. She just spoke. It just shit came out of her mouth. And that's constantly what I hear from this woman. It's all the time. It's just garbage coming out of her mouth. How did you get to such a position of power? I don't understand. It really says a lot about our country. It says a lot about the people voting for her. AOC says it's time for the North to pull up to the South.
To make sure that we all understand that Montgomery is not alone. That you all are not alone. And for all of those watching today, when they ask, what do we do in this moment? I feel helpless. What action can I take? It is time for the North to pull up to the South. It is time for New York to pull up to Alabama. It is time for all of us to come to Georgia, to Louisiana, to Tennessee, to Mississippi, and let them know exactly what they have uncorked with this injustice. They think they can draw us out of power. They do not know the sleeping giant that they just awakened.
You better draw her out of power. You better draw her out of power with that kind of speech, because she's literally now saying she wants to impose the bullshit that they're doing in New York City onto you in the South. You have your way of life in the South, and I've been blessed to spend a lot of time in the South with very, very great people across Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana. There's a lot of great people down there. It's not all that bullshit. Look at me. I look like a fucking terrorist. You know how I've been treated down there? Like a fucking prince. Like a fucking prince across Texas, Mississippi, Louisiana. All that bullshit that they tell you about these white people being super fucking racist and hating anyone who's not white, it's bullshit, let me tell you. 99% of Americans are the sweetest people in the world. Yeah, there's some bad apples here and there, but these people are genuinely amazing. Let's take a look at this clip. This is AOC actively trying to rewrite American history.
This is in the heritage of our country, because America was founded. You look at Thomas Jefferson writing to Madison in revolt of British aristocracy. The American Revolution was against the billionaires of their time.
Well, look, I might have to start a playlist debunking AOC, because she's just out here. She's just out here saying whatever. Like what? Oh my. Okay, hold on. Let me. Okay, let me get myself together. All right, I'm together. What she's saying is not fair or accurate. The American Revolution was primarily about taxation without representation. We learned this in school. For example, you had taxes like the Stamp Act, the Townshend Acts, and the Tea Act, which imposed taxes to pay off British war debts. But these colonists had no representation in Parliament in the UK, or in England, sorry. So to kind of simplify it, the American Revolution was a revolt against a distant, unaccountable government who was taxing individuals, the American colonists, who was taxing them without them having representation in England. By the way, at that time, there was no equivalent to modern billionaires because all the power rested within the monarchy. Extreme wealth was tied to like lands, titles, and like crown privileges, literally from the monarch. She's trying to rewrite American history in order to get people to support socialism, essentially. Because if you listen to her, she'll lead you to believe that there was this, from the ground up revolt against the wealthy. That is not what happened. And this is funny because actually the opposite is what happened. The revolt was led by colonial elites. The key leaders were George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock, James Madison. I'm going to read you a little bit about each of their backgrounds. George Washington obviously was the commander-in-chief, but he was a wealthy planter and landowner with thousands of acres. He was one of the richest men in the colonies. Thomas Jefferson, a wealthy plantation owner and lawyer. Benjamin Franklin, a printer, scientist, diplomat, worked his way up to the ranks, became very wealthy. John Hancock, extremely wealthy merchant. I could keep going. The reality is the opposite of what AOC is trying to get people to believe. She's trying to act like this was a ground-up revolt against the wealthy. No, this was a revolt led by colonial elites against an unaccountable government that was taxing them without giving them representation. And she's trying to get people to believe that it's American to attack billionaires and want socialism. It is not. Do not let her lie to you. Anyway, don't forget I have a free email newsletter.
Yeah. Well, everybody's letting her lie. I mean, she's been lying for my entire adult life. I've been seeing this woman lie. I don't know how and why we're tolerating it, but it needs to end. It really does.